Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello and welcome to the Reefer Reporters. It's July the 18th, 2022, and we are live from the Legacy420.com news desk. Good morning, Reverend Kelly. How are we doing this morning?
Good morning. Happy Monday morning. It's a little rainy, but still beautiful. It smells like rain where I'm sitting right now.
That's right, yeah. But we need rain, though. We were talking before the show, like your grass is basically dead.
Yeah, it sounds like crunch, crunch, crunch when you walk on it, and you can't walk on it with bare feet because it's hard and yucky. We haven't had a lot of rain this summer, which is good for us that want to go and spend time in the sunshine, but not good for our plants.
No, exactly. And, especially if you got plants that are a little bit out of reach.
Yeah.
Sometimes
is that what you have?
You want to, yeah. Makes it easier to look after them if it rains more often.
Right.
So,
Right.
Exactly. So just so you know, last Saturday passed, we were at Legacy 420.
Yeah.
We did 2 hours. We did 2 broadcasts.
Wow.
2 hours was the first one. And then my phone died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my phone died. Actually, it quit twice on me. It quit just before we went live.
Wow.
And then, and then it quit during right at the end of the broadcast. And that was because of overheating.
Yes, that's been happening to my phone a lot lately. Yes, that's what happens in the heat. So, good. What do you do in that case? Just carry a backup phone or live on location?
No, I could carry a backup phone, but no, it's what I ended up doing was because we started a little bit late because of it. And I had problems with at that time the first time it quit on me was when I was trying to set everything up and things didn't seem to go right. So I don't know whether it was affected by the heat. And then
it was a hot day.
then it shut down. Yeah, it was. It was a very hot day. Like even Taz, who Taz is, that's Ollie's dog.
Yeah.
He went to lay down on the asphalt and he got right back up again.
No. Too hot. Too hot for his belly.
Too hot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you saw the Ollie dogs. They're some of my most favorite humans. What a nice day.
But it was good. It was a good day.
Yeah.
They had some, 5 or 6 booths were all set up along the fence line there. They had barbecues going.
Yeah.
And if you want a hot dog or a hamburger, they cook it up for you if it wasn't already cooked. And then you had a choice of putting infused or non-infused condiments on your hamburger. Yes.
Brilliant.
Infused ketchup, infused mustard. Yeah. And you know what Scott did? He come up with a new term. He took a bun.
Yeah.
He took a bun. He took some mustard, and he says this is the new form of dabbing. And he was dabbing the bun into the infused mustard, and then eating the bun.
Very good. Infused mustard.
And then there was free samples of infused bits and bites, popcorn and nuts and stuff like. There was like 5 between the condiments and then the treats. There was like 5 things that you could get. And then if you were inside and you bought something, you could get a freezy.
Oh, you love those. You love those.
Yeah. There was no
drinks. Did you get some drinks? Because you love the drinks there.
Yes. Yeah. I got some lemonade, but what I did is they had a scratch and dent sale, $1 a can, $1 a can.
That's amazing.
So I grabbed half a dozen cans just to bring home in case somebody came by.
Yep.
I could offer them a cannabis beverage. And what happened?
Great.
Sure enough.
Okay, I'm on my way now.
All right, I got some still left in the fridge, but I had family over yesterday. Surprise visits. It was sort of unplanned type things.
Yeah.
And I was able to hand out some beverages. So
that's nice. See,
I haven't done that in years. I'll tell you.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah. Well, good. And happy anniversary to Legacy for 27 years strong. They're the longest Indigenous dispensary in our country.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep, the longest running, the
and
longest, second open, second longest open, only second to the Victoria Buyers Club in
Virtual
British
right
Columbia.
now,
They're
yeah,
the longest
yeah,
in our province for sure.
yeah.
Isn't that
The
incredible?
it
Yeah,
is, and they're doing so well
yeah,
there. And there
definitely.
was Green Irene. She was with me on the broadcast here
Yeah.
live, and then she turned around and she drove the 90 minutes to get there after the show
See,
in
she knew
order,
how
and
wonderful it
she
was
did some more interviews.
to come.
We went around, did some more interviews and stuff like that. So
Ah,
it's
good for her.
it was a
Wonderful.
good day. It was a good day. So
Good.
then they had games and all kinds of stuff going on over there. So well, shall
Amazing.
we get into our news?
Ooh, let's do that.
All right. First story up comes to us from the Toronto Sun. Headline says cannabis tourism yet to catch on in Toronto despite pot shops and cannabis carnival.
My goodness. Even though pot shops are seemingly on every corner of the city, and despite the opening of a nice space to light one up at the exhibition place, cannabis tourism is not yet much of a thing in Toronto.
Though Toronto has gone from just 12 legal cannabis shops at the start of COVID to close to 500 now, according to a recent story in the New York Times. Though it's true that there are things like personalized tours and cooking classes themed around cannabis for eager tourists who favor bud, but these aren't exactly high times, according to those in the know.
Destination Toronto told The Sun that they've only received a couple of inquiries in the past 4 years about cannabis tourism in Toronto. Cannabis Carnival recently opened and will continue for the rest of the summer at Exhibition Place. It's a 600,000 square foot outdoor smoking area for cannabis at Grand Bazaar Supper Club.
That's Supper Club.
Mhm.
I wondered where it was at. George Smitherman, president and CEO of the Cannabis Council of Canada, recently told reporters that the Cannabis Carnival space will start the normalization of cannabis culture. There will be more opportunities. There will be more of these opportunities with edibles, drinks, and the food evolution of the cannabis consumption culture.
So it's possible that other entrepreneurs will follow suit, but it hasn't happened yet. Saying Destination Toronto saying there's definitely hasn't been a lot of conversation to date. Our team hasn't received any news on additional venues or lounges that plan on taking this approach, of course, that the Cannabis Carnival is taking. That's maybe because of all of the regulations. There's certainly talk of it,
Maybe.
as we've talked before about the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance, of which I'm a member. And we're fighting for that. And we have discussions for that on a weekly basis, how we can change the regulations, how we can make people come. If there was more opportunity for farm gate, there was more changes with these lounges, if there was areas for cannabis consumption in a more
Mhm.
open way, I think we would see this more tourism
Yes.
destinations.
Yeah. Well, as we know, at one time there was about 10 lounges or
Yes.
more in the city.
Yep.
And I know at one time that there was Youngsterdam tours were being offered,
Right.
and people could, yeah, they would be
Yep.
taken around and go to places within Toronto.
Yep.
So this has happened in the past, and there's no reason why it shouldn't happen, couldn't happen.
Absolutely. And Wally Farah, who owns Cosmic Gardens, formerly owning Youngsterdam, has plans for that coming up when the regulations change,
Yeah.
to
Well, we
go
got to
back to
keep.
those kinds of tourism things. He loves that,
Yeah.
and we all do, and we want to fight for that. How incredible would it be for you? You've written articles about cannabis lounges. How
Oh,
incredible would it be for you to tour legal cannabis lounges and write an article about that? Sort of what's
I,
happening
I,
now, right?
yeah, like, yeah, like there's no, it's just,
Should happen.
it's,
It will.
yeah, it should happen. There's no reason why they couldn't happen. And until that can be, straightened out, then people could do or doing whatever. Like I know Alex did something down there in Windsor, Alex Newman, at 420. He had an idea where he did something that, was, obviously didn't break any rules anyways.
No. And we had the Kind Fair a couple of weeks ago, and that was
Yep.
they had a consumption lounge there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do what we
exactly.
can right now.
That's right. That's right. A little bit at a time, break those doors open all the way.
That's
So,
right.
all right. Next story. Headline says, not easy being green. A look at Georgina's Wild Wild West
Ooh.
cannabis market.
And a grumpy faced man. Close to
Yeah, really,
two-thirds,
eh?
right?
That's
Of
what I thought too.
two-thirds, close to two-thirds of Canada's cannabis shops are in Ontario. In April, some 2,000 licensed cannabis shops in the province sold more than $150 million worth of cannabis. 8 of those are open for business in Georgina, with another 4 in progress. Look at this map here. Where's Georgina? So looking like a Barrie area?
Yes.
Up there.
Yes. I'm looking for Barrie
Blue
in the map.
Mountain
This
kind of,
Beaverton. Yeah,
it's
it's
a
across
touristy spot.
yeah, it's across the water from Barrie by the looks of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, touristy spot. It's regulated, but it's very much an open market, according to Jason Simic, a Keswick native and Sessions Cannabis franchise owner. He says that there will be a war of attrition in the market. It will even out, just like any other business. He says, and apparently, and Sessions was one of the first places there in Keswick.
Right. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, of course, AGCO, is the ultimate authority on cannabis retail stores. In early spring 2021, Georgina Council voted unanimously to open up the gates, along with retail licensing and employee training. Cannabis shops have a laundry list of provincial hoops to jump through, from location and exterior appearance to requiring security cameras, ID checkpoints, and being able to trace each transaction back to a qualified employee.
And that sometimes takes months or even years, says Simic, who opened the Keswick store in early 2022. Then there are the challenges of opening and establishing a new business. For some local parents, such as Inga Balaka, there aren't enough hoops. The registered nurse is concerned with the number of cannabis shops in the area, especially when it comes to advertising near schools.
Oh dear. Well, that was a big list of things. ID checkpoints, being able to trace each transaction. I'm wondering if they have that, if those regulations are for the LCBO or for beer stores too. When I was reading that, I was thinking, do they have to do that in the liquor and beer stores? It sounds over-regulated to me, right?
Yeah, I know, I agree. Yeah.
Balika's saying every single plaza from school to home has a cannabis store, every single one. And each of them advertises with signs and banners on the main road. There's a cannabis banner on the corner of Glenwoods and Avenue, the Queensway South, that's visible from the local high school. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's my response. Okay, good. I would rather my teenager consuming cannabis over drinking alcohol.
Sure.
Any day.
I agree.
Any
I
day.
agree. Yep. She says, I know it's legal, but what about the ethical issue of it being right across from the high school? It can be anywhere, but not in front of schools. Why do they even advertise? Anybody wants to know where the store is can Google it easily. It's not something you have to dig for information. Holy smokes, lady.
Wow, eh? You know what?
What you said right across from the high school, I know that there is distance requirements for the
Absolutely.
stores from the high
150
school,
meters.
so
100,
is
if
it
it just
across the
happens to
road?
be a visual sight, then these teenagers are going to get healthier. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
well,
thinking.
yeah.
Yeah. They should
Yeah.
put one up that says, don't forget to clean your bongs. Because teenagers are always forgetting to clean their bongs and they're
They're
going to
always
get
cleaning,
sick.
they're not
Their
cleaning
little
their
forming
bonds.
ones are going to get sick. You know what? They're going to do it anyway. So why not allow them to give them the tools to be healthier and safer with it? They're going to do it anyway.
You're gonna do it, yeah. Like, is
Yep.
this person also complaining about video games or cars that
Exactly.
can go above the speed limit?
Right? Yep. Or
Yeah,
those
because
big, huge banners on the sides of highways for liquor. I see them
yeah,
everywhere. Bacardi rum, summer drinks, this and that. On the sides of the highway. I'm in Toronto, everywhere, but not for cannabis. No,
no,
not
that's
for
right.
cannabis. After hearing concerns from the community, Georgina Council directed staff to draft a letter from the AGCO and the local MPP about the marketing practices of local cannabis shops. My goodness, this woman.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Simic says that we're a legal business trying to survive a crazy market. If you want to know anything about the cannabis market, it's nuts. While the AGCO has strict limits on proximity to a school, 100, which is 150 meters, there are no regulations on how many cannabis shops can open in a community, let alone in the same vicinity. That's where there should be more government oversight, according to Simic. Well, are they worrying about convenience stores
With
being
tobacco.
close to each other? Convenience stores has tobacco products.
Absolutely.
Convenience stores carry junk food
Yep.
that causes
White sugar.
obesity.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant point.
obesity,
Yep.
diabetes.
Yep. Yep. It makes them sick. far more sick than any plant would.
That's right.
Of Georgina's 12 registered cannabis shops, 7 are in Keswick, 4 are open, and 3 are in progress. And of those, 4 are located or near the Queensway South. It's like a wild, wild west. You can have 4 LCBOs on the same street, and you can have 4 cannabis stores. Or you can't have 4 LCBOs. Why can't you have 4 LCBOs?
Yeah. Georgina has 11 cannabis shops registered with the AGCO and 1 on reserve lands. That's 1 cannabis shop for every 3,900 residents, one of the highest per capita rates per area compared to the 1 LCBO store for every 11,900 people, with only 4 locations in town.
Wow, it sounds like
they got four LCBO stores in town.
Yeah.
Are they going to cut them back to 2, maybe 3?
Nope. They're saying that there are 13 cannabis shops either open or in progress in Aurora, another 9 in Whitechurch, Stouffville, which is the other 2 municipalities in the region that allows cannabis shops. Oh, that allows cannabis shops. There must be somebody that opted out up there, Al.
Must have been, yeah. In Bradford, West Woodbury, there are 6 shops, all of which are authorized to open. That means there's 1 cannabis shop for every 4,700 Aurora residents, 1 for every 5,500 Whitechurch, Stouffville residents, and 1 for every 7,100 Bradford, West Woodbury residents. And Simic says that the market is in its infancy. And if there's not enough people to serve these stores, they will close.
That's right. Yep. I know that now when I travel outside of my home area, I look to see where the cannabis stores are. I always are like, is there something in the area? Make sure just in case I run out.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now to finish off the story, he says right at the bottom there, he says, if you have too many coffee shops, at some point, some are going to close and some are going to open. Then you're going to have the right amount to support the community needs. And that's no different than a cannabis store.
Absolutely. Or a drugstore or a grocery store or a pizza shop, right?
Pizza shops. There's another one. People were complaining, in Marmor, they opened up a 3rd pizza store there a few years ago, and everybody's like, how many pizza stores do we need? Holy smokes.
Lots.
Well, if they're not going to survive, the market will let them know.
They should have a cannabis store and a pizza store close beside each other.
Yeah. In Camelford, which is southwest of me, they're talking about they have 3 stores and they're worried about too many stores. Well, they've got over 20 restaurants or food places where you can go in and buy your dinner. They've got 12 places where you can purchase alcohol, whether it's, at a bar or at a liquor store, all within a walking distance of the town bridge.
Yeah.
And they're complaining about 3 cannabis shops.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're complaining until they need it. Everybody complains until they realize, I might need that for my pain or inflammation or sleep or something. And then they go, tell me a little bit about it more. It just takes that. It just takes them to realize that it can help them, and then it'll change their minds. Let's just hope they do it within our lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. Same with the lounges. All right, on to our next story. This one comes from Global. And it says that 17 suspensions for cannabis use, 1 for cocaine, and 4 for alcohol during the Chamberlain traffic check.
Now this is a Saskatchewan story. I found it so interesting because I'd never seen a headline like this before. The RCMP, they reported checking around 3,500 to 4,000 vehicles during a 2-day traffic safety initiative in Chamberlain, which is a city in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, the focus was to remove unsafe vehicles as well as vehicles carrying improper recreational items from Saskatchewan roads. Police officers also identified drivers impaired by drugs or alcohol.
So during the traffic check conducted on Tuesday and Thursday, officers issued 17 suspensions for cannabis use. 1 suspension was for cocaine use, 4 suspensions for alcohol.
37 vehicle inspections were issued. 4 people were arrested in relation to pending warrants. 8 suspended drivers stopped, and 22 vehicles were impounded for impaired driving.
There was a large number of drivers inexperienced in towing trailers or campers. Many drivers had someone else connected their trailer or camper to their towing vehicle, completely unaware how to do it themselves. So that's obviously, that's a traffic violation. But It does not mention how they checked for the cannabis use, and it
No.
does not. But I found this so interesting. There was more suspensions for cannabis than alcohol, but these were done in the middle of the week, and it
Yep.
sounds like a lot of different suspensions and charges related, like 22 vehicles impounded for impaired driving.
Yeah.
What's going on in Saskatchewan
Yeah, they
during the
don't.
week over
Yeah,
there?
they say here for vehicles carrying improper recreational items. Well, cannabis is a recreational item. I guess
Yeah,
alcohol could be considered.
sure.
So, like what were the charges? Were they like is when it comes to the cannabis end? It doesn't say what the impaired cannabis.
Yeah.
Was it for drivers having access to cannabis?
Right, could have been,
No.
and were they checking for THC in the body? Was that what they were checking for? Did they do how did they do these tests? Were they doing a blood test right there? Like, what's going on?
22. Okay, well, here you go. You said the 22 vehicles were impounded for impaired driving. Okay.
Yep.
17 suspensions for cannabis, 1 for cocaine, and 4 for alcohol equals 22.
Yep.
So basically what it's saying is that everybody was impaired.
Yep. And they took their vehicles and charged them.
So
Wow.
be interesting to see what happens in those cannabis cases.
Yeah. That was the first time I had seen that. So and it's in our
Yeah, same here.
They're obviously checking for it a little bit more. So people be aware of that. Be aware that they are checking for a little, at least in that province. I haven't heard it in our own province of Ontario yet.
And I don't know what they use for their test, like you say, whether they've got the saliva test or.
And are they only still checking for THC impairment? That's my question, because we know that CBN, you take a large quantity of CBN, you're sleeping. Are they checking for CBN yet? Because I think that I would be driving like this on CBN more than I would on THC.
Were any of those people patients who are driving and me, you, there's a million other people like myself out there in Canada who consume daily and as medicine and go out there. And even though first thing in the morning, doesn't mean that you've consumed anything. You can have as we know, fellow Reefer reporter Glenn Prentice, he hadn't consumed in 35 days, and he still tested positive for cannabis. You telling me he was impaired? No.
Nope. Stills in your system. It stays in your hair follicles. It stays in your blood. It's our medicine. Some people cannot drive without consuming first because they shake. They can't turn a wheel with their hands are shaking. They can't get into a lane where there's other vehicles when they have anxiety or road rage that'll make them impaired just because of their disorders. No.
All right. On to the next story. Here we go. This one's from CTV News. Headline says, around 300 cannabis plants found in a commercial vehicle.
Ooh, look at them in that photo in Kitchener. Wellington County OPP found approximately 300 cannabis plants in a commercial vehicle during a safety inspection.
Police say the commercial vehicle entered an inspection area in Arthur on July the 13th as part of the Operation Safe Driver Week initiative.
Ooh. Oh, and it's a Stouffville area. So about the area where we were just talking about, that Winston Whiteville Stouffville area. Now, police have charged a 58-year-old man from Stouffville. He's charged with possession of more than 4 cannabis plants, non-budding or flowering, distribution of more than 4 cannabis plants, non-budding or flowering, which is contrary to the Cannabis Act, as well as driving a commercial motor vehicle without a valid certificate. So according to the Traffic Act. So he had a bunch of these plants and he was traveling around with them. What is a commercial vehicle, like a van or like a UPS delivery kind of thing?
Yeah, I would take it that way.
Why would you fit 300 plants in there?
Well, you can see there in the picture that they were on. There's a shelf.
6. Yeah.
So there was a bunch on the bottom, then the shelf, and there'd be a bunch on the top, right?
That's a lot of plants to put into a vehicle.
Well, they're headed somewhere.
They're headed somewhere. They could bring them to me now.
It's a little late to be getting them outside, though.
Yeah, they're headed inside, I think. But now, what will they do with them? They take them and they destroy them. That's the sad part.
They will. They will.
They can bring them to me. I'll take care of them.
Yeah, that's right. All right, you ready for the next story? Here comes that next story that gave us a bit of a problem to get things going this morning. Headline from Bloomberg says pot gets Senate's attention in Long-Shot Decriminalization Bill. Long-Shot doesn't sound good, Kelly.
They keep doing the long shots, though. Senate Democrats plan to introduce a bill to decriminalize cannabis at the federal level next week. A person familiar with the matter said, although the legislation faces long odds in the evenly divided chamber.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer worked with Senators Cory Booker of New Jersey and Ron Wyden of Oregon on the measure. The senators circulated a draft of the bill last year and made tweaks after feedback from Senate committees.
So it's the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act that would remove cannabis from the list of drugs covered by the Controlled Substance Act. States, however, can still maintain and create prohibitions on production and distribution of cannabis.
Pot stocks surged on the news. Canadian cannabis producer Tilroy brand soared as much as 20% on its biggest jump in 4 months. Investors surged into other cannabis licensed producers that have been expanding into the U.S., including Canopy Growth, which surged as much as 11%. U.S. multi-state operators also rallied, with Green Thumb Industries climbing to its highest point in 1 month.
It's kind of cool. The sector has been pummeled this year as the glacial pace of the U.S. legalization weighs on formerly high-flying share prices. Now, the ETFMG Alternative Harvest, ETF, also known by the ticker MG, has plunged 48% this year as investor hopes wane.
Wow.
We've heard that most of this time is we've been saying that for the past year, is that stocks have gone down. So this is the first time we've been able to say that they're up. And just because they're saying, hey, we might be able to get somebody's ear in the Senate about this, of course, the stocks go up.
Yeah, and tomorrow's a whole different day.
Yep.
With these things. The legislation faces an uphill battle in the chamber where 60 votes are required to pass most bills. Many Republicans and some Democrats, including Senators Jean Shaheen and John Tester, have opposed decriminalizing cannabis.
Now, the bill would create grant programs to aid communities and individuals impacted most by drug offenses and established funding programs to provide loans to small cannabis businesses owned by disadvantaged individuals.
It also requires that federal nonviolent cannabis-related convictions and arrests be expunged within 1 year of enactment. The House voted in April to decriminalize cannabis, expunge federal convictions on cannabis-related charges, and impose taxes on cannabis producers and importers.
The legislation passed 220 to 204 with support from most House Democrats and 3 Republicans. 2 Democrats voted against the bill.
Yeah.
2 of them suckers.
Yeah, and this is probably like the 6th or 7th time.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we'll just add this to our next week news, and then the week after that, and then the week
it's sort of like what we were doing with Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah, the same thing. We haven't heard anything about that for a while, so
yeah. I know, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, it's break time. Kelly and I'll be right back after we have a bit of a joint session. You're watching the Reefer Reporters. We are live here on the Pace Radio Network. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants. Garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch, yes, watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
Hi folks, Scott from stfattiesday.com here, and we're absolutely stoked to tell you about our brand new program called Pass the Peace Pipe and our partnership with Legacy 420 out of Tyne-Nanaga. We are absolutely proud to be partners with these people. They are an amazing group that have helped so many people with their amazing cannabis medicinal products. And we are working together to gather funds to build the first ever Indigenous specific opioid addiction center here in the Bay of Quinte area on Tyne-Nanagan land. So we need your help. We need you to repost this video and go to our GoFundMe campaign, because on this October 17th, St. Fatty's Day, we are going to be starting the campaign where we pass the peace pipe from one side of the country to another to unite our country, to gather awareness, but most importantly funds to build opioid addiction centers across the nation, one build at a time.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, we're back from our break, and I'm in the screen again. Yep, done. We're back from our break and ready to go. We got 5 more stories to cover there, Kelly. And what do you think? You should get at her?
Yes. Oh, yes. This is a
Alrighty.
really important story we're starting off with here.
Yeah, that's right. First up, Griner's lawyer, WNBA star, had doctor's note for cannabis use.
My goodness. A lawyer for the WNBA star Brittany Griner at her drug possession trial in Russia on Friday gave the court a U.S. doctor's letter recommending she use medical cannabis to treat pain.
Griner, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and standout for the Phoenix Mercury, was arrested at Moscow's airport in February after customs officials said they found vape canisters containing cannabis oil in her luggage. She faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted on charges of transporting drugs.
In court last week, Griner pleaded guilty and acknowledged possessing the canisters, but said she had no criminal intent and said they were in her luggage because she packed hastily in her return to Russia to play the UMMC. I'm not going to try to that, a basketball team during the WNBA's offseason.
In Russia's judicial system, admitting guilt doesn't automatically end a trial. Since that plea, her court sessions have focused on in-person and written testimony to her good character and athletic prowess.
Now, Griner wore a Nirvana t-shirt as she sat beside the defendant's cage that is customary in Russian courtrooms. At one point, she held a photo of fellow WNBA players during wearing her name and number 42 on their uniforms in tribute during part of Sunday's All-Star game in Chicago.
Now, according to her lawyer, Maria Blagovina, I'll get that out, says the attending physician gave Brittany recommendations for the use of medical cannabis. The permission was issued on behalf of the Arizona Department of Health.
Okay, so the defense on Friday also submitted tests she underwent as part of an anti-doping check, which didn't detect any prohibited substances in her system.
Yeah. Her next hearing is scheduled for July the 26th. U.S. President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Antony Blinken have said they are doing all they could to win her release, as well as that of other Americans the U.S. considers wrongly detained by Russia, including former Marine Paul Whelan, who is serving 16 years on an espionage charge.
Wow. Now, Washington may have little leverage with Moscow, though, because of strong and anonymous, what is that word? Animosity. Oh, animosity over its military operation in Ukraine. So now they're pulling the war that's happening into this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
In the hearings yesterday, and well, they're suggesting it could be a possibility. There hasn't been anything that I know of it mentioned in the court case. In the hearings yesterday and today, what became very clear is that a tremendous amount of respect and admiration, both in the United States and here in Russia, where Miss Griner has been playing basketball for 7 years, not only for her professional achievements, but for her character and integrity, according to U.S. Embassy Charged Affairs Elizabeth Rod said outside the courthouse in Moscow.
My goodness. The director and team captain of UMMC testified on her behalf on Thursday as well. Now, the Russian media have speculated that Griner could be swapped for Russian arms trader Victor Bout. He's named the Merchant of Death. Oh my gosh. He's serving 25 years in the U.S. after being convicted of conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens and providing aid to terrorist organizations. Oh my gosh. So this guy's in the U.S. prison and they're going to trade him for the basketball star lady?
That's what the rumor is. There's been nothing. I don't know of anything concrete yet. But yeah.
I don't know. That's not a very good trade.
Not very even swamp there. No, I somebody who's been caught with less than a gram of oil. And they want the U.S. to give up somebody who is
called the Merchant of Death. That's his name.
Wow. Yeah. No. Let's see. Where were we? Russia has agitated for Bout's release for years, but the wide discrepancy in the seriousness of their cases could make such a trade unpalatable to Washington, I guess so. Mm-hmm. Others have suggested that Griner could be traded along with Whelan, who is serving 16 years in Russia for an espionage conviction that the U.S. described as a setup.
Okay. Now, the State Department's designation of Griner as wrongfully detained moves her case under the supervision of its special presidential envoy for hostage affairs, effectively the government's chief hostage negotiator. The classification as irritated Russia. Oh man, we don't want to irritate them. Don't irritate Russia.
Asked about the possibility of Griner being swapped for Russians jailed in the U.S., Deputy Foreign Minister from Russia has noted that until a trial is over, there are no formal or procedural reasons to talk about any further steps.
Okay. So this foreign minister has warned that the U.S. criticism, including the description of Griner as wrongfully detained and dismissive comments about the Russian judicial system, makes it difficult to engage in detailed discussion of any possible exchanges. Oh my
goodness. Yeah, Griner's detention has been authorized through December the 20th, suggesting the trial could last months. Griner's lawyers, however, said they expect it to conclude around the beginning of August.
Oh, we can only hope that she gets to come home soon. This poor woman.
It's it's not right that she's being held in the jail over there.
No.
But it's I saw some online that were commenting about how the U.S. is working so hard to get her out of a foreign jail.
Yeah.
And some people are asking about, their own country is throwing people in jail.
Yeah.
For cannabis.
For cannabis, and they're working hard. I guess because she's maybe like a celebrity, she gets a little bit special treatment, maybe.
Mm. And the thing is that the ladies have been traveling, as they said there, 7 years. She herself has been going to Russia. Others, she's not alone. Others go there, and that's because of wages. When it comes to their professional sports, they're not being compensated like the men are.
Right.
So they're forced to go elsewhere in order to play where they can get some money, and that's where they're going to Russia, right?
Maybe nobody go to Russia for a while. Just stay away from Russia for a little while. Just a thought. Yeah.
All right, on to our next story from Mugglehead Magazine. It says demand for CBD pet products forecasted to increase according to research and markets.
Yeah, I love this one. In recent days, the demand for CBD has not only been growing for people across North America, but also for their furry four-legged friends.
Now, on Tuesday, Research and Markets announced that the international cannabis CBD pet products market was projected to observe a compound annual growth rate of 12% between 2022 and 2027.
Now, R&M states that CBD pet supplement sales are primarily driven by a contemporary focus of the health benefits of cannabis and a growing recognition of natural health products amongst consumers.
Now, according to them, despite the trials and difficulties associated with the pandemic, sales and demand for CBD pet products only increased. This rise in revenue within the market was partially attributed to easy purchase access for products via e-commerce platforms, making it much more convenient for pet owners to have their goods delivered instead of going out during the lockdowns.
Now, founded in 2002 and headquartered in Dublin, Ireland, R&M is the world's largest research market store. R&M also claims to offer insight into over 800 industries and has had over 450 clients from the Fortune 500, which is the largest companies in America. Wow.
Although dog and cat products currently account for the majority of the consumer spending in the market, R&M says the CBD products designed for horses and other animals are currently in the works. Animal CBD products with therapeutic anti-inflammation and anti-anxiety benefits are anticipated to continue being the most popular.
Wow. So what mammals have an endocannabinoid system the same way that humans do. And they were left out of the Cannabis Act, even though they need that medicine too. They need that. They need it. And instead, pet owners are going to veterinary offices, and the veterinarians are giving them medicine that's making the animals more sick, steroids and things for their poor little bodies.
They got to be allowed to open that up and get some cannabis into their.
They have to.
Yeah,
they have to.
And, Ollie Dog, he's got a product there that.
Yes. Yeah, Ollie Dog Pet Wellness. They swear by it. I give it to my dog every day. My 8-year-old dog jumps around like he's a puppy, and he's nothing lazy, nothing about him. He runs around, and he's been on CBD for as long as I've known Ollie Dog. So
there you go.
There you go. It helps them. It really does. Now, where are we? Is that you?
Yeah. Here, I'll carry on. Yeah. North America currently dominates the CBD pet market, and rising rates of pet adoption combined with growing demand for high-grade care products are additionally factors propelling market growth forward. In 2018, almost 3% of the revenue generated by the legal cannabis industry was attributed to pet care.
Wow. R&M cities that a study from the American Pet Products Association in 2019 showed that 34% of feline owners and almost 39% of dog owners would prefer CBD-based merchandise for their pets post-cannabis legalization. Now, the same study showed that 8% of cat owners and almost 11% of dog owners are utilizing CBD health and wellness supplements for their treats for their furry critters.
Yep, the United States accounts for over 50% of the market share within North America and is the primary contributor to CBD pet product sales in the whole continent. According to studies from the APPA, pet owners in the U.S. spend approximately $95.5 billion on veterinary services, pet-related items, and treatments in 2020. Yep.
People love their furry pets. They're their family members, right? And they want to choose this better option for them. In the US, of course, they have their farm bill that allows CBD products over the counter. So it's much easier for them to get in the hands of people down there, pet owners down there, right? Yep. So R&M claims that as CBD pet products become more easily accessible and popular, established distributors and suppliers will be able to take advantage of immense growing opportunities attributed to CBD pet sales.
And in recent days, Nestle Purina has allegedly been considering the creation of a CBD dog food. Ha ha, nice. R&M believes that small pet CBD brands could likely be acquired by more established companies such as Canopy Growth, Mars Inc., J&M Smucker, Nestle's, General Mills Inc. The inherent strong market concentration from these acquisitions would likely boost sales rates for CBD pet products in North America for years to come.
Wow, I love it. You can
Yeah.
list some of the
Wow.
ones that they're using down there. So great. That's a great progress to hear this.
Good to
Hopefully
see, eh?
regulations will change. And pets
Yes.
can be included. When the Cannabis Act changes, it has to be. When
Well,
it's updated, they have to.
when they do that review that they were supposed to do, like how long ago?
Which they were supposed to start already and haven't.
Yeah, that review. Yeah, maybe to come in that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
you can obviously see by those numbers that people are using CBD for their pets.
Yeah.
And
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Exactly. Yeah. All right, on to our next story. This one says that regular cannabis use now are more accepted by Australians than smoking tobacco, according to the latest study.
Love it. Regular cannabis use has become more accessible than smoking tobacco. That's according to the latest National Drug Strategy Household Survey.
The 2019 data compiled by the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare and released on Friday asked about 20,000 people between the ages of 14 and over about their attitudes towards drugs.
It found for the first time 20% of respondents supported regular cannabis use compared to 15% in support of tobacco.
As cannabis became widely acceptable, more Australians were in favor of greater penalties against tobacco use, in line with falling rates of smokers nationally.
Some 85% of Australians supported stricter law enforcement against supplying minors with tobacco, while about 7 to 10% thought the use of electronic cigarettes or e-cigarettes should be restricted in public places.
Support was highest in the ACT, with 72% in favor of the restrictions of e-cigarette use compared to 61% in the Northern Territory. At the same time, a record 2 in 5 Australians now support legalizing cannabis, an increase of 16% in the last decade.
I like that. In some areas, including Sydney, support for legalizing cannabis was as high as 60%. In Melbourne, 57%, though the cannabis should be made legal for personal use. 47% of Brisbane residents were in favor of legalization. That's huge.
In the act, where the drug has been decriminalized since 2020, some 66% of the Canberrians supported its legalization for personal use.
Wow. Majority. The findings followed a growing global trend in favor of legalizing cannabis for recreational use. Some 17 states in the U.S. have legalized cannabis, joining a string of nations including Canada, Spain, and Uruguay.
They also followed bulging support for legalizing cannabis at the ballot box. Micro-party legalized cannabis picked up between 2 and 7% of the Senate vote in the May federal election in most states in the Northern Territory, despite running no advertising during the campaign.
Wow. That's clear right there. That's clear.
Exactly. Yeah.
The RMIT Associate Lecturer and Drug Policy Consultant Jared Birtle said reforms that had occurred in the U.S. and around the globe were likely linked to the increasing trend in support of cannabis legalization in Australia.
Yeah, he goes on to say it's been a demonstration that a legalization model could work here. Legalized cannabis getting a significant portion of the vote was another indication there is, particularly amongst younger Australians, a trend in support of legalization.
Wow. The evidence is legalization doesn't result in an increase in regular users of cannabis, and it also doesn't result in people under 18 picking up cannabis. That's all good signs in favor of legalization.
All states and territories currently practice some form of decriminalization, but differences vary in terms of what quantity is considered personal use and what penalties are offered.
Okay. South Australia was the first state to decriminalize minor cannabis offenses in 1987, introducing the option to pay a fine instead of receiving a criminal charge. Okay.
Decriminalization, though, is separate to legalization. Some 78% did not think possession of cannabis for personal use should be a criminal offense. However, there was also an increase in social acceptance of lighting up.
Wow, so nice to see that progress. 1 in 5 approved of the regular use of cannabis by an adult, an increase of 12% compared to 2010. Nevertheless, nearly 4 in 5 Australians interviewed, 78%, said they still would not light up if it became legal. They still afraid, I guess, maybe to do it in public, or a little bit, oh, I don't want it. That smelly plant.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know when cannabis became legal here, it wasn't all of a sudden you were seeing people walking around everywhere smoking joints. If you were already doing it, you just kept on doing it.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yep. But do you know what I am seeing? When people come to my lounges, my outside spots, when they smoke cigarettes, they leave. They oh, I've got to go smoke a cigarette. Obviously, this isn't the right place. So they're noticing that oh, okay, we're consuming our cannabis together, but I'm leaving for the tobacco. Isn't that neat?
Good.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. Exactly. They say here in the act where cannabis was decriminalized, interest in trying the drug was highest. Around 11% of the people said they would try cannabis if it were legal, compared with 7.5% in Tasmania.
Now, Bartle said, well, Australians had a natural conservatism towards policy change. Yeah. Seeing other nations have a go was making it more comfortable position to hold, while younger people were particularly more willing to rethink how the nation had approached criminalization in the past.
Our comfort levels are changing. I think we'll have strong proposals within the next 5 years, according to what the spokesperson says. Support for pill testing also increased in 2019. 57% are supporting pill testing at designated sites. Oh, okay. I see what they're getting at there.
What does that mean?
They're basically getting your drugs tested.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's sort of like what Dana's doing out west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The people in the act, where the first fixed pill testing site was opened last month, were the most likely to support the measure, 70% compared with 54% in the Northern Territory. Is that happening in BC? They're testing the pills out there?
Dana's got a program that where you send him a sample of your drugs and he will test them for you to make sure that they are clean.
Oh, blessings to Dana. So they're doing that in Australia. So that I mean, we're not encouraging pill use, but let's get them safe so that they're not killing people.
Yeah, exactly. Several years ago, I was at an event, sort of like a Burning Man style event.
Yeah, cool.
Where there was a tent set up and there was a sign outside that said, "Get your drugs tested," and they would be testing it. Right there on site.
That's nice to see. They need that more.
Yeah. Okay, where are we? Go ahead.
Support of the legalization of other drugs remained relatively low, with minor increases compared to 2010 for some drugs, including cocaine, 8% compared to 6.3%, and ecstasy, 9.5% compared to 6.8%. So that's increasing overall.
That's increased, yeah. Majority of Australians support a referral to treatment or an education program if a person was found with small quantities of drugs. However, more than half were in favor of a caution, warning, or no action if they were found in possession of cannabis.
Of course. The next NDSHS survey will kick off later this month to be completed in December 2022. The survey informs government policy planning on tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs.
There you go.
Follow that for sure.
Hopefully it helps out with the cannabis end as they go along.
Yeah. It would be nice to see it legalized in Australia, or decriminalized first and then legalized overall.
Legalized, yeah. All right, next story, and this is one that I just never heard about it this way, but it's true.
Yeah.
And that says here, according to the Caribbean news, they say here Belize needs $5 million to stage a referendum on the decriminalization of cannabis.
I love that, and I love that photo. Look at those beautiful plants. Belize Prime Minister John Bracino says an estimated $5 million will be required to stage a national referendum on the legislation of cannabis later this year.
Yeah. Now, just so you know, anybody's wondering, $1 of Belize is 49 cents. So you're looking at $2.5 million US to do this.
Okay, not much.
Yeah. Well, he described the funds needed as a pittance in comparison to the country's move to defend its territorial borders with Guatemala. The Prime Minister told reporters, "We are trying to hold down the cost."
Prime Minister saying the cost of a referendum is not only what it will cost for the Elections and Boundaries Commission, what they will spend, but also there has to be an information campaign so that people could truly understand what is going to happen, what is the question, and inform people properly so that when they go to the polls, they can make a decision based on what they believe, how they should answer the question.
Earlier this week, the Belize Coalition of Churches said it will soon be putting forward its campaign after meeting the threshold for triggering a referendum on the issue of cannabis legalization that could take place in September this year.
Now, under the Referendum Act, a referendum may be triggered when a petition receives the signatures of 10% of the voting population. Chief Elections Officer Josephine Tamai said the threshold to trigger the referendum has been met.
He goes on to say that I can tell you that in terms of number of petitions that we received, the total was 20,112 petitions. Of those petitions, a total of 18,891, or 20% of the total number of registered electors, were accepted. So the 18,891 signatures were accepted.
It's over that 10%. They did it.
Yeah.
She said as a result, she has written to Governor General Froila Trelslam, informing the head of state, that the threshold has been met successfully.
Pastor Lewis Wade, the church's spokesperson for its anti-cannabis effort, said, "We will be putting our campaign forward as soon as the Governor General makes the writ and releases it, and we are confident that Belizeans know the damage that marijuana has done in their community and in their threshold."
Oh my.
Well, let's
Pastor
just get
Lewis.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
So the House of Representatives on Friday debated the introduction of a supplementary allocation to cover the cost of the upcoming cannabis referendum. Prime Minister Benicio says his administration has found the $5 million that it didn't budget for its recent national budget. They found it now. Well, they have to find it. They have to find it. They're looking for it.
Yeah. He says the government, particularly the Minister of New Growth Industries, Kareem Musa, did extensive consultations with the public on the cannabis issue. Asked by reporters whether the referendum necessary at this time, the Prime Minister replied saying, "Honestly, I was one of them that saying maybe we should have the referendum and get it over with early. But when they told me it was going to cost as much as $5 million, we said it's really too much." So, Kelly, I'm really lost here. I think there's a setup here. The Belize Coalition of Churches went to get this. They got their signatures that were required, but then the pastor comes out and says something negative towards it. Like, what's...
Yeah.
Maybe he's not on the coalition. I don't know. Maybe they're doing this so that they feel that people are going to say no, and there'll be a country that turned it down and they'll be happy. I don't know.
It doesn't make much sense, does it? I think somebody, some rich cannabis company should go over to Belize and give them the $5 million they need so that they can start up with their cannabis there. That's
which is only like $2.5 million on the US and things, right? So
that's pocket change to some of these big companies.
That's right. Well, yes, exactly. Okay, we got one more story to go, and before we get going, first. You haven't seen that yet.
Surprise! I love it. Mushy moment. I love it. It made me feel like I was on Mushies. I love it.
Exactly. Cool. I made that. I played it last week for Glenn,
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, yeah, we got to do this. Every time we get a mushroom story, and we have it in the Reefer Reporters, I'll be playing that so people know that the mushroom stories are common. All right, and here's the headline: 5 countries where psychedelics are legal.
As clinical studies continue to show that psychedelics can improve mental health, individuals from across the world have begun considering experimenting with substances such as psilocybin and ayahuasca. There is only one problem. In most countries, the personal use of such compounds remains highly illegal, with several punishments for those who use it. But are there any countries where psychedelics are legal?
The international laws governing psychedelics are beginning to change. Nations from across the planet have begun turning the last pages on the decade-long drug war or global war on drugs. And while for most countries this means less severe punishments and transitioning from jail time to fines or mandatory rehab, some have flat out legalized certain psychedelics.
So this is an examination of 5 countries where at least some psychedelics are completely legal. Now, the rules and regulations surrounding the psychedelics vary in each jurisdiction.
That's right. And look at that. Number 5, the USA.
Right?
Yeah. It perhaps the best to start in the United States. Not only did the war on drugs originate here, but the country also strong-armed much of the rest of the world into following its lead. Exactly. Well, it's true that across the nation, most psychedelics remain illegal due to the USA's heavy decentralized nature. Several states have started a process to legalize at least certain psychedelics.
Right. Oregon was the first domino to fall. Other states such as Colorado are following the lead.
That's right. Exactly. Site number 4, the Netherlands.
Yes.
Despite having beautiful agriculture, thousands of years of history, and some of the most friendly people you will ever meet, when it comes to tourism, the Netherlands is perhaps best known for the place of legal cannabis and magic truffles. Well, yes. Yeah.
And cannabis isn't technically legal there, but it's a little bit controlled. Psilocybin truffles are legal, and you can get them in stores there. Isn't that amazing? You get them at smart shops in the Netherlands.
So cannabis, as we know, isn't legal there, but mushrooms are.
Yep, truffles.
Very interesting.
I want to have some. Number 3 is Jamaica.
Yes, number 3 is Jamaica. I was aware of that one. Whoop. Even during the height of the war on drugs, Jamaica never made psilocybin mushrooms illegal.
No. And there's actually people that travel from all over the world to go to Jamaica to be able to go through some of these ceremonies. In fact, Steve D'Angelo, who we know as the father of legal cannabis, is actually working on bringing a program to Jamaica where people can travel and he can work on magic mushroom retreats with them. Isn't that beautiful?
Nice. Yes. Yeah. We've had some guests in the past from there. Yeah. Dealing with all that.
Yeah.
And the things. Now, it says here that in 2021, legal, functional, and psychedelic mushroom retail outlets was opened in Jamaica by the company Silo Wellness. So they got mushroom stores.
Isn't that amazing?
Since then, more shroom shops have popped up across Bob Marley's homeland. Likewise, psilocybin healing centers and retreats have been blooming across the island nation, attracting not only local residents but also international travelers.
That's right. People travel from all over the world to head there for their psychedelics tourist destination. Wonderful. Number 2 is the Bahamas. I didn't know this about the Bahamas, Al. Did you?
No, did I? No. Go ahead. You can read this one.
It's saying that the Bahamas psilocybin mushrooms are also legal to grow and sell there, though psilocybin itself is a controlled substance. But like in Jamaica, there's been psilocybin health and wellness retreats opening across the island in years.
And we've had stories recently where they're talking about legalizing cannabis there, and they've already got the mushrooms done.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And
it's not far from Florida. I didn't know it was that close. So if you're in Florida, you just have to swim over there.
50 miles. You can swim 50 miles.
Yeah.
Number 1 was Brazil.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That's amazing.
Neither did I. Yeah, they say it takes the cake on this listicle of countries where psychedelics are legal. While psilocybin mushrooms are basically legal in Brazil, though their sale remains almost entirely in the informal market. The fact that the Latin American giant has also legalized ayahuasca gives them the top rank.
Yep. The ayahuasca brew is containing DMT. It can cause a psychedelic experience lasting around 4 to 6 hours. And a lot of places are using that for health and wellness and treatment.
Yeah. Now they have honorable mentions. Let's see who they got in there. Special honorable mention goes to Nepal, as well as there's Mexico, where people can semi-legally attend iboga healing centers, but you can't buy cannabis. Come on,
it's so funny. I know.
Peru, Portugal
has decriminalized all drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Exactly.
Really good stuff.
Mushroom tourism.
Yep.
Mushroom tourism.
Bring it to Canada. Canada wasn't on that list. No, but they do. They have mushroom cafes out, and we were speaking about Dana Larson earlier. Mushroom cafes happening out in British Columbia. I think that they're started by him. Yeah.
Yep. Now, from what I'm told, because you'll see as we close out the show, you will see one of our sponsors does advertise mushroom spores and mushroom kits.
Yeah.
Because mushroom spores are legal, whereas mushrooms aren't.
Right.
It's sort of like for all those years where cannabis seeds were that sort of gray area market until legalization came in, right?
Yes. There are spores from the mycelium network, which is what the mushrooms are all attached to, in everything around us. During this broadcast, you and I have taken in spores into our mouths as we've been just sitting here broadcasting. Mushroom spores are everywhere. They're in everything all around us. That's right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the ones that are magical. Those are special.
Yes, exactly. All right. Anything before we round out the show?
Just everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.
That's right. And dress coolly, because the rest of the week's going to be hot here in Ontario.
Yes, summer in the city.
That's right. Well, that's our Reefer report for July the 18th, 2022. And from the Legacy420.com desk, we like to say thank you to our sponsors, BMA Hydroponics, Camelford Lifestyle Shop, Dr. Buck CTSDom.com, as well as the Legacy 420. If you enjoyed our show, we say share it with as many people as you can. And plus, don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's lovely.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.